ever feel like buying a car is more stressful than a tax audit? You're not alone. Welcome to the Keys to the Deal podcast, Drive Away Happy. I'm your host, Kathie the Car Mama. With over 30 years as an auto industry insider and negotiation ninja, I've seen it all. I'll spill the tea on finance jargon, sneaky sales tactics, and share real-world stories. This podcast is for anyone overwhelmed by the car market. We'll share practical tips, strategies, and funny anecdotes to help you save thousands, avoid pitfalls, and drive away with confidence. So buckle up, laugh a little, and let's skip the hassle and drive away happy. Welcome back to Keys to the Deal. I am your host, Kathie the Car Mama, and today we are going to be talking about how dealerships really make their money. So the biggest misconception that a lot of people have is that dealerships only make money on the profit of the car they're selling you, which is not the case, especially for new cars. New cars do not have the profit margin that they used to. And we'll go into detail on that. But also keep in mind that there are so many other ways that dealerships make money, and their biggest profit margins are probably not where you expect them to be. So that's what we're going to be talking about today in this podcast, where I give you the truth about dealerships and how you can save money. So let's get started. The biggest misconception, again, that people have when they go buy a car at a dealership is that all of the profit is in the vehicle purchase, the actual from invoice to MSRP. And things have changed drastically over the years. So I started in the car business in 1994, before the internet, before advertising, before any of the other stuff. And there were thousands of dollars between invoice to MSRP. And not only that, there was still what's called holdback, which is what the dealership profit is without you actually knowing it because they hide it in certain places in the invoice. But from thousands of dollars over the years, the manufacturers kind of realized that the dealerships were making more money. So every time a new model line came out, the profit went down, went a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller, to where it is absolutely realistic that if you are looking at a base model compact car, there is probably about $600 to $800 in markup from invoice to MSRP. So the profit is not there. The profit is somewhere else. And this is how they get you, because they can make a killing in other places. So we're going to go down through the top 4 places that dealerships make their money and how they do it so that you know what to look for when you go into the dealership to see what they're doing and how to get the most bang for your buck. Again, like I said, the first is going to be your front end gross. And when I say gross, that's the gross profit that the dealership has. That front end gross could be, depending on new or used, anywhere from $600 all the way up to $4,000. And I'll explain how used works if it's a trade-in later on. But that profit is not that great. It's not a huge profit margin. So they're just getting what they can out of that because they have to pay the salesperson a percentage of that in commission. So it's not that big of a profit margin. Here's where they make their most money is in the back-end gross, which is the F&I department. So when you go into the finance department, that's where they get you. Oh, my God, we got you this great deal. The interest rate is fantastic. Everything looks good. Here is all of the stuff that we can offer you to help protect your investment. And you know what I say, a car is never an investment. It's a depreciating asset. You can't call it, that's an oxymoron. You can't call it an investment and it depreciates. It's not. It's a car. It gets you, it's a means to an end to get you to the place where you are going to make your money. So when they say, let's protect your investment, basically what they're saying is, please cover your eyes while I add $10,000 worth of bullshit to your car. And hopefully you don't notice until you get home after you've already signed the paperwork. The next thing that they are going to make money off of is going to be your trade. That, hands down, is one of the biggest profit margins they can also get, because you don't know how much truly your car is worth. You can look at Kelley Blue Book. You can look at all these places. Keep this in mind. When it comes to Kelley Blue Book, they are an advertiser for the dealership. They don't work for you because it's a free product for you. But a dealership pays a monthly service fee to be part of Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offer, so that their dealership comes in when you put all of your trade information in and it says, take it to this dealership and you'll get this money for it. The dealership pays for that advertising to be the dealership that they suggest and recommend that you go to. So they're not doing you any favors on Kelley Blue Book. What they're actually doing is they are inflating the value of your car so that you feel like, I've got some good equity in my car. This is fantastic. And the little bottom disclaimer that says the dealership at its discretion can change the value of the vehicle based on the in-person inspection. So you got to keep that in mind too when you're going in there. This is basically just a ploy for you to go, oh my God, my car's worth 10 grand. I can go get something else. And you run into the dealership and the dealership does their walk around and goes, well, there's some dents, there's some dings. You said it was in excellent condition. It's not. So we're only going to give you $7,500. Well, guess what? They're going to put it on their lot and sell it for $12,000. So that profit margin there is a lot. And that's why they want to do that. Plus, they can also move some numbers around on the deal. So if you're saying, I want more for my trade, well, they can actually inflate your trade value and then mark up the price of the car. And they'll do that not by just blatantly marking up the price of your car. They're going to do that by taking away their discount. So if they have a dealer discount of $2,500, but you want $1,000 more for your trade, they're going to give you $1,500 discount. And they start maneuvering it around so that they get you hyper-focused on one single number and you don't see it in the big picture. Like, you're not going down the list. You're going, oh my God, they gave me what I wanted for my trade. But they get you to, hey, look over here. So you don't notice that $2,500 discount is now $1,500. Numbers didn't change for them. They just focused you on the number that you were most interested in to get you to say yes and sign that little worksheet. Keep that in mind when you're looking at that. And last but not least, the biggest one that they have as well is going to be the service and parts department. So the service and parts department is where they get you in the long run. Like, this is, and I refer to it like dating. Going to a car dealership is like dating. You never know what you're going to get. Think about this. It's the long game. They want retention. So they want you to come to their service department. They want you to come to their parts department. And if you notice, when you go in, they give you discounts and coupons and all this stuff. Hey, $19.95 oil change. Come in today. You're like, oh, great. $20 for an oil change? This is going to be great. And it's going to be cheap and I can get in and out. And it's through the dealership. You get in there and here comes the guy or girl from behind the counter coming into the lounge. Hey, so we did a quick inspection of your car and it looks like you need wiper blades and you need a cabin air filter and there's something going on with your brakes and we can check those out. We can do check your timing belt and all this other stuff. That $19.95 oil change, well, if you get everything done, it's only $712. But they make it sound like you have to have that shit done or you're not going to be able to pull out of the dealership. There's a reason why those people are sitting there and why they come out there and make you feel all warm and, fuzzy when you're sitting in those nice comfy chairs and you've got free snacks and you've got coffee and you've got all that so you can feel relaxed so they can come in and, hey, we're your friend. We just want to make sure that your car is getting the best service possible. But it's only $700. So they make a lot of money. Parts departments, same way. Difference with parts departments is a lot of times parts department, their biggest money makers is making deals with companies. So when I was in the parts side, my biggest thing was to go to like different companies that had fleet vehicles and set it up to where if you need parts for your Fords, you just come to me. And then we make a deal. So that's how parts really makes their money. It's not the customer that walks up to the counter and says, hey, I need some better wheels. I want to buy some all-weather floor mats, that kind of thing. It's the bigger companies that they make their money off of. But it's still a profit margin. So now what I want to do is I want you to see an actual deal so that you can understand where they get their money from and how you can read your contract to make sure that they aren't screwing you over in the process. So the first page is going to be the buyer's agreement. The first and second page, because they're long forms, so I'm going to show you the top and then we'll show you the bottom. So the first thing that you're going to see is all of those lists of items that they have put onto it. You've got road hazard, tire and wheel, door edge guards, wheel locks, nitrogen, tinted glass, low jack. All this crap that is, one, outrageously expensive. $14.74 for tire and wheel, and $14.95 for low jack. That's bullshit right there. The next one is going to be where you're going to see the gap coverage and the service contract that they put on there. And they did a maintenance agreement, meaning oil changes. But a $5,500 service contract. And then you've got gap insurance for, I think it was $1,200. Yeah, $1,200 for the gap insurance, which is absolutely ridiculous that they are charging that kind of stuff. Just make sure that you are looking at the buyer's order. This is your buyer's order. Now I want to show you the actual contract. And the actual contract, you're going to see what kind of vehicle it was. You're going to see the finance charges over the term of the loan. You're going to see how much, based on all of this, the payment ended up being almost $1,200 for 84 months. Everything they added onto this, it is a Jeep Grand Cherokee that they are going to end up paying $98,000 for. It's insane. But while you're looking at this page, you want to make sure that they are showing you every page and that you are going through it, because the next page is going to be important. You're going to see where the $1,200 gap insurance is at. You're going to see, and if you look, it says on here, these companies, they are required to itemize every single list on a contract so that you can't, a customer can't say, well, they hid it in it and I didn't know I had it. But the problem is a lot of these dealerships, they don't tell you it's on there. They kind of rush through. They're like, I just need your initials down at the bottom. This is everything we talked about, blah, blah, blah. And then the last one you're going to see where it says, the seller must identify who is paid and describe its purpose. That is absolutely necessary on a contract that says the car care, tire and wheel, the service contract, the maintenance plan, all of this stuff. They have to tell you, one, it's either their company or it's not their company, who's getting this money for it and how much they're actually charging for it and what it does. So the second page of your contract, you need to look at very, very carefully, because right here, you're talking over $10,000 if you add the gap and everything else in there. That was over $10,000 of product that was added to this car that the customer didn't even know that they had until they hired me to negotiate their deal. And come to find out, because I asked for the contracts. I asked to see your original contract if you have it, because I want to see how much shit they added onto your car that you don't even know about. So I saw this and I was like, okay, great part is a lot of these are cancelable products. And she only had it a year. She ended up being $23,000 of negative equity. But my purpose was to get her back into the dealership that she had the original contract on, because a lot of these contracts, all these cancelable items, you have to cancel at the dealership. So my goal was to get her back into the dealership, act like she was going to buy a car from them so that they were more apt to cancel the products right then and there while she was there. We got the products canceled, everything done, and then they were trying to hose her again on another car. And I'm like, okay. And I was on the phone with her while she was in the dealership, and I said, just stand up and walk out. Get up, walk out. You've already got all your products canceled. That will go towards the balance of your loan. And then, shockingly, they found a car that fit perfectly and was going to cover the negative equity, and all of the stuff was canceled because at that point they had just lost $8,000. If she stood up and walked out because she canceled all that product, they just lost $8,000 by her walking in the door. So they were going to make sure that they did something to make that deal work. They found the car. She ended up saving $400 a month on her payment. And she got rid of all that stuff and didn't buy anything else. She did get Gap. I did tell her to get Gap. She needed that. But not at $1,200 a pop. And again, they can, except for the state of Florida, they can negotiate the price of any product that they offer. In the state of Florida, it's actually a law you cannot negotiate on added products. So if they have a $2,000 markup on their service contracts, everybody pays the $2,000 markup. You either get it or you don't. That's just the way it is. But everywhere else, if you're looking at a service contract and it looks like something that you do want to get, it has good coverage and that kind of thing, then you definitely want to negotiate that. Usually it's $2,500 to $3,000 that they have it marked up. But I am not saying that the dealership should be giving that stuff away for free, because at the end of the day, when you sell those contracts and somebody goes and files a claim, that profit margin is actually what pays for those things to get fixed. Yeah, majority of people don't end up needing to use their service contracts, but when they do, they are an outrageous amount. So they still need that money in order to cover it. But that's going to be a conversation for another time on how those service contracts work. And I will say this, and I'm going to be very, very clear when it comes to service contracts. They are not all created equally. So make sure if you are taking advantage of a service contract, which a lot of people call an extended warranty, it is not. It is a service contract, that you get the right company and the right coverage. So I always tell everybody, make sure you get comprehensive exclusionary coverage. That is going to cover all the bells and whistles, fun stuff in the center console, that kind of thing. And when I say the fun stuff in the center console, I'm talking about the Apple CarPlay, the big screen, and all of that. And I would always say go towards the manufacturer. So if you're buying a Ford, get the Ford service contract. But if you are going third party, I am going to recommend my top three. And the first one, I used to work for them, JM&A. It's Fidelity Warranty Services. And the reason I say that is because I know they pay out on their claims. They're very good at their claims payout. And you want to make sure that if you're spending that much money on a service contract, that they actually pay out when you file a claim. So I recommend them. I recommend Zurich, North America. They are right up there with Fidelity Warranty Services. And then the third one is going to be Ethos. Those are the ones that I would say have the best claim payouts. The ones that don't are your direct-to-consumer. And you know which ones I'm talking about. And I will not throw dirt on people's names. So just know that if you can buy it directly from the company, you are not getting your vehicle inspected before you buy this. Meaning they can say, when you go to file a claim, that was a pre-existing condition, so we're not covering that claim. So then you might have spent less money, but it never pays out. So then you're pissed and you're going to cancel it, and then you only get a prorated refund on it, and it's bullshit. So those direct-to-consumers, you don't want that. You want to go into a dealership, and I know, a lot of people are like, I hate doing that, but it saves you in the long run. If you are buying an extended warranty, go to the dealership. Find out first who they offer. What third-party warranty do you have? And you can call around. You don't have to go to the dealership that you purchased at. You can go to any dealership and ask them. And if they have Fidelity Warranty Services, Zurich North America, or Ethos, you're in good hands. So go in, get the inspection done so they can clear the car and say, hey, we inspected it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the car. So if in 3 weeks something happens to the car, you can file the claim, and the claim will actually get paid out because the dealership inspected the car and there was nothing wrong with it. So there's no pre-existing condition. Those are the kind of things that you want to look at. But when it comes to the profit of the dealership, just remember everything that I told you. The car is not their profit machine. The car is the bait. Everything else is the hook. So you have to understand that when you are going into the dealership. You might get $300 off the price of the car and think, well, I didn't get a good deal. But then you get $4,000 off of all the products when you're in the finance office. And, you get a couple free oil changes and say no thank you when you go in there to get the oil changes. I don't need all of this other shit. So you could end up saving tens of thousands of dollars over the life of the loan, especially, and keep this in mind too, they can mark up your rate. So if you get approved, you could very well get approved for 4%, and you go into the finance office to sign and they got you at 6%, they can mark it up 2 points. And that interest over the 6 or 7 year loan is staggering. So if you can get them to do buy rate, you've saved $6,000 to $10,000 over the life of the loan if you make the minimum payment and pay every single payment. There are so many other ways that you can save money at the dealership, and that's why a lot of people hire me to do their deal for them, because they don't know where they can save money. I do. I've been doing this for 30 years. I know exactly where the money is hidden at. And that's why people hire me. I know there's a lot of people that are starting to do what I do, and you see them on TikTok, you see them on Instagram, you see them on that. I caution when you're looking at people that are doing that. And again, I am not throwing dirt on anybody. I think everybody has their place in this landscape. But if it's just them calling a dealership and getting you $1,000 off the price of the car to cover their fee, is that really saving you money? Or is it the person who says, all right, I got you the discount on the car. I got them to up your trade value $1,500. Now I'm going to talk to the finance manager and make sure that you got the right rate, that you get gap coverage not at $1,200 or $1,500, because gap is not that expensive. They are just marking the shit out of it. I want to make sure that you are getting absolutely every bit of savings. And then I also want to make sure that when you go into the dealership to sign the paperwork, I'm on the phone with you. I was just on the phone last night. It was a late night deal, but that's what I'm here for, and that's why people hire me. I checked the contract. She texted over a picture of the contract to make sure that everything looked good, and I pointed out some stuff. It's like, hey, check that out. No, that's not the same car. Let's look at it this way. But that's what I do for people who hire me. So I want to make sure everybody knows that it's not just me making a phone call to the dealership and getting you a discount on the car. Just making sure everybody knows. If you are interested in hiring me to negotiate your deal for you, just make sure you go to the link on keystothedeal.com. It is up there in the top right. You can also check out my website, which is kathiethecarmama.com. And just remember, Kathie is spelled with an IE. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Our last and final thing I want to go over is our speed dating round. So today, our speed dating round is going to be for a Ford F-150. So the Ford F-150, I want you to think about the guy, the good old boy. He works hard. He just wants to come home and have a meal on the table. You take care of him, he will absolutely take care of you. If you do not help him get his boots off at the end of the day and make sure that he has a good meal, meat and potatoes kind of thing, he's going to take a shit in your driveway. And that's exactly what an F-150 will do. So when you are taking care of an F-150, if you do all of the maintenance, you make sure that that oil is changed on a regular basis, it will last you for a long, long time. If you do not take care of it, that will be the punchline of Ford stands for fix or repair daily, because it needs to be taken care of and cultivated, and that's the good old boy of the Ford F-150. I'm happy that you guys joined me. Make sure that you come back every week to Keys to the Deal so that you can see how to buy a car like a pro. And if you just need me to do it for you, I can.